Hello and welcome to my first ever sewing video. And please excuse the audio. I haven't got a proper microphone, so I'm just using this iPad's recorder. Okay, so today we have two victims. Patients. Okay, before I get into this, I'd like to apologize for the awful backgrounds. Disgusting! Moving right along. First, I had this unicorn pillow pet, and there wasn't really anything wrong with it other than the battery part. It was this feature where it was supposed to light up, but this one was broken, so it didn't. And as such, the wires in the battery area only ended up making you feel uncomfortable when you lay on it. Not great for a pillow pet. So I decided to change that. Also, editing me, I'm sorry for all the little pops in between. That is where I have stopped the recording and then started again. My script is messy to say the least, so I need to keep stopping. And also I can't talk for a long duration of time before getting off track. So you're just going to have to bear with me with the popping noises and the freaking annoying things. Sorry about that. Man, I really wish I had photos of this part, but when I was making this, I didn't know I would be making a video about it, and just started taking photos at random intervals. But what happened, I think I'm going to use Ibis paint to draw some pictures to sort of represent and give you the feel for what happened, because it wouldn't make sense with me rambling, so you'll need a photo to just sort of guide you into understanding what the heck I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna put this photo in. There we go. And now we can start. Okay, let's pretend that's the underside of the pillow pet. And as I said, there's a battery pack there that I want to remove. And I cut down the middle, avoiding cutting the battery pack, and sort of open the thing up. What I had expected to see was, of course, the battery pack, and I expected it to be the rest of the pillow pet to be filled with cotton. Boy, was I wrong. There was actually this weird sheet of what looked like some kind of fabric stuff, and glued onto it were a bunch of wires that were connecting into the battery pack. It was really weird. The wires are smaller than they are in this picture, but you get you get the picture. That's terrible. That's so terrible. Why'd I write that in the script? Okay. And these wires pretty much just ran all along the fabric of the pillow pet. I'm assuming that was so that they could get the whole pillow pet to light up. But it was just a really tedious job removing this. I didn't want to cut the wires because that sounded like maybe a bit unsafe. So I decided I'm going to expertly cut away this fabric. Oh boy, did that take hours. That took so long. I wish I'd shown it. I really wish I had. So I tossed away this wire-ridden fabric, and now I'm left with an empty shell of a pillow pet, and with it a gross bag and a destroyed Velcro strip. So the battery pack was supposed to sit inside of the bag so that you could put your hand through the Velcro strip, grab the battery pack, and change its batteries. But now it doesn't have a battery pack. So I'm left with a gross bag and some Velcro. Nice. At this point, I wanted to get rid of the bag, but then I realized if you still have the Velcro there, you can just shove your hand inside the pillow pet and there'll just be fluff there. And I don't think that's a good idea. And see, the thing about me is I don't really want to waste space with this. I was like, no, I can't. Mainly because I'm a sucker for, like, secret pockets and secret sort of compartments and things. I love it when there's a hidden pocket somewhere. It's awesome. So I wanted to utilize this space. And what could I do that could possibly fill that need to do that? Well, actually, I realized as I looked around my room that I had a little thing called felt. So I made from scratch a felt bag, and I attached it to the inside of the unicorn, and then I sewed it on, and then I had my own Velcro. So I replaced the gross Velcro, and now we've got new Velcro. And I was like, yes, it's all coming together. So I was so excited about that. But yeah, after that, there was only one thing left to do. Well, actually, two things. Yeah, there was two things left to do. I needed to fill the unicorn back up with cotton, and I needed to sew her back up. Sadly, when I had originally cut down the middle, I had cut a bit into her neck, so I had to fix that before I got started with stuffing her with cotton again. So after that was fixed, I filled her with cotton, and I spent the rest of the day watching videos and sewing this unicorn. Once it was done, I was so proud of myself. Look at her, she's all better. Okay. Next, plushy. That wasn't correct. Okay. I didn't clap in the correct way. Whatever, who cares? We're moving on. Okay, so the next surgery went much better, especially because I did it, like, way more recently. Plus, I got more pictures in the process. But this time, you'll need a little backstory. So, me and my sister were walking home from the store, and we were walking past these little houses, and we walked past and noticed that one of the houses, outside of it, there was some broken toys, and someone had thrown them over the fence, presumably because they were too lazy to put them in the bin. And so that's where I found it. The alpaca head. I showed Lily, and then she found the body. And here she is. My next project. Okay, so the tag reckons she's a llama. She looks more like an alpaca, so I might use these words interchangeably, so I'm sorry, okay? When I got home, I showed it to the others, and I told my younger sister Marcella that when I was finished fixing her, then she could have her. That was a huge mistake, but I'll tell you about that later. Now, let's get on with what this is actually about. So, as you can see, there's some sort of plastic robot-like endoskeleton, and this is so that she can dance. Yeah, originally she was supposed to do that. And, I could have kept that feature, but the neck was bent so that when I put her head back on, she, like, leaned forward awkwardly, and it just looked terrible. So I decided to ditch the endoskeleton entirely. Because of the panel in the belly, it was hard to cut the outward layer, and it left a big hole in place of the panel. So she had this big hole in her belly that I needed to fix up. At this part, I had so much fluff on me. It was hilarious. I'll put a picture here. Then I patched up a random rip that was stopping me from starting on the belly. So next, I decided it was time to patch up that hole. So I went looking for something I could use. I found this cute bit of felt, and I set to work. A little while later, we were done. P.s. The lighting is better because different bits were documented at different times. Moving on. Now I've gotten to the hardest bit of all. Everything before this was easy stuff, but now we're at the part that almost made me quit. I wanted to sew the head back on, but there was one thing that was stopping me, and that was the remains of her neck was ripped so short and jaggedly that Lily's theory was that it was done by a dog, which I definitely agree with. But yeah, I didn't know where to start. I tried holding it on and considered stitching it there, but that made it floppy and unbalanced, so I decided to go for a different approach. After thinking of all my options, I decided that sewing it on, just straight back on, wouldn't work. So I would need to make a neck for this llama and sew that on. I wanted to cover it up with something. I was thinking a bandana so that you couldn't see all the imperfections with the neck. I didn't really know how to make a neck from scratch or what to even make it out of. So again, it was time to go digging around. And I found some more felt. And I decided, what if I rolled it up, sewed it together, and made it into a neck? And I quickly realized it was too heavy for her, and she fell over. Here's the part that made me want to give up. I was tired and I couldn't think of what would work. Plus, since Marcella heard that I would give it to her when I was done, she wouldn't stop coming in and annoying me. But instead, I went back to the drawing board. I searched through the things that I had and tried to think of anything that would work. Then I had a good idea. Foam! Of course! Why didn't I think of this before? But as it turns out, I threw away most of my foam. So I only have one piece of puffy foam and 2 pieces of this black flat foam. This is what I'm working with. At this point, I was really anxious because I knew that I only really had one shot at this, considering the amount of foam that I had. But I did it anyway. I knew I couldn't sew the foam directly onto the llama, alpaca, whatever. So I got out my hot glue gun and again set to work. After carving the foam to a reasonable size and to a reasonable shape, things were starting to look up. Okay, I'm really sorry that I didn't get any photos of this part because it was kind of impossible without the thing falling apart. So the long and short of it is that I spent hours sewing on the neck and it actually worked. And my hard work was finally paying off. And I could see that it was still leaning. Not as bad, but... Oh, that was quite loud. Not as bad, but it was still a cause for concern. I wondered if there was a way to balance out the weight. And lo and behold, as I turned my head to my horribly messy desk, I found the answer. There's a little drawstring bag. I filled it up with rice, and surprisingly, it worked. So I put it in the back of the llama and started sewing her up. I cut some fabric here and there, but it wasn't too much of a hassle. And there she is, our lovely alpaca llama creature. She is done. But she looks like she's missing something. Ah, there. All in all, I'm super happy with how this turned out. Marcella got her alpaca and stopped badgering me. And I finally got to rest. All of that to say, thank you very much for watching my video. This has been very exciting and very different, but I'm gonna have to tune out. Mainly because the video's done, but also because I'm recording in a boiling car and I will die if I stay here any longer. So goodbye!